was the early 1990s, and I was living in New York City, and I lived on the Upper East Side, and I worked in Midtown at USA Networks as a videotape editor. And on this particular Saturday, a friend of mine had asked me to help him put together a video for his parents' anniversary. And so I was like, sure, no problem. And so we were going to meet around 12 o'clock. And when I was in New York City, I rode my bicycle everywhere. I mean, that was my chief form of transportation. Sometimes I would race people on the subway and beat them, like going uptown to downtown. So anyway, I really enjoyed bicycling, and the bike that I had bought was canary yellow with black markings. So it was very, very distinguishable from most of the bikes that were on the road. And I decided to stop for lunch on the way into the job at my favorite restaurant. And so I rode down there, locked my bike up on a parking meter in front of the restaurant, went in, paid for my order, I took it out, and in that 5-minute span, somebody had stolen my bicycle. So I was just like, oh no, I was so disappointed and I was so bummed out. And I didn't know what to do. So I just stood there and started cursing. And then the light bulb went off in my head, and I said, you know what? If I hurry up, I bet I could catch him. So that's what I did. Well, that's what I attempted to do anyway. So I flagged down a cab driver and I explained the story to him. And so I got in the cab, and he was all in, which is great. So we started going up First Avenue, and then I asked him to turn down 79th Street and go west on across town. And he said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I don't make it up as I go along, I guess. So just a couple of minutes into the ride, I saw my bicycle. I saw a guy coming down Fifth Avenue on my bicycle, on my canary yellow bicycle, and he crossed over 79th Street, and I said, oh my God, that's him! Let's get him! So the cab driver was like, okay. So we went down, and we got to Fifth Avenue. We turned down, and I said, okay, just slow down for a bit, because I'm going to see if I can find him, you know. So it just took a couple minutes, and I saw him on the corner of 75th Street. He was like astride my bike, you know, not off the seat. He was chatting away with someone on the corner. It's probably his accomplice, I felt. I don't know. So we turned down 75th Street, and I said, just pull up a couple of cars, and then I'll get out. And so I got out, and he's like, what are you going to do? I said, I'll figure it out as I go along, you know. So I started walking towards the corner, and I had the opportunity to kind of scope him out, right? So he was very slight of stature, and I think he was probably a couple inches shorter than me. So I was like, you know what? I can take this guy, right? So I continued to walk, and I just was staring straight at him. And when I was about 10 feet away, he caught my eye. Like, he looked directly, and he knew exactly who I was. And so at that point, I just lunged forward, and I grabbed the handlebar with my left hand, and I pushed him so freaking hard with my right hand. He fell off the bike, and he was like, and I just stood there. And he scuttled away, walked, and then he got up and ran away. And I started cursing at the top of my lungs. I was so enraged. I was like, you know, curse. I think every curse word in my vocabulary, right? And I also called him a coward, because I felt like he was a coward. So, and this continued until I lost sight of him. He escaped. And so at this point, I was shaking with adrenaline, right? So I was like, okay. I took some cleansing breaths. So I calmed down enough, and then I turned around, went back to the cab, and I said, and we high-fived. I was like, high-five, yeah, we found him. I got my bike back. I can't believe it. And so then the cab driver was real happy too, and I gave him a huge tip. And I continued on my way down to Midtown, and I did the job, and everything was fine. And I went home, and I called my new boyfriend when I got home, and I told him the story. And naturally, he was concerned about my safety, and I think probably a little concerned about my sanity also. And but he was proud. You know, he was kind of impressed, right? So. And a couple of days go by, and then when I was talking, he called me, and I was talking to him again. And by the way, he ended up becoming my husband. And he said, well, you know, I told my mom that story, and she said, you know, I like this girl. She's not going to let you mess with her.